Toughest fight, I think it's the toughest fight in the division for him. I think Justin Gaethje is an absolute stud. He is, they call him the human highlight and the most exciting guy in the game, and it is true, but not just the game, in all of combat sports. There is no fighter in the world of sports that is more exciting than Justin Gaethje. Boxing, kickboxing, mixed martial arts, you'll find nobody more exciting and better. And the Justin Gaethje that fought Tony Ferguson in April or May is more dangerous to Khabib than anyone that he has ever stood across the octagon from. With that being said, I've seen Khabib Nurmagomedov train for championship fights and fights since 2012. The only person that was more thorough in their preparation was Cain Velasquez when he became the champion back in 2010. No one worked harder. No one was more committed. And I just don't know if anyone's going to beat him. I'm confident in believing that Khabib will retire undefeated. Nobody will beat this guy. He is too committed to who he's supposed to be to get beat by anyone. So Justin will fight a good fight, and I'm calling the fight, right? So I'm going to be as unbiased as I can possibly be in this fight, and I'm going to do my job to the best of my ability. But I just don't know if anybody can beat this guy right now. There's no 55-pounder should feel that strong when he grabs you.
For me, he's the best fighter right now on the planet. He's the best right now. Everybody knows what he's gonna try to do, but nobody figure out a way to avoid it. You know, Khabib put an incredible, relentless pressure. He always start the fight, going a little bit defensive, so he moves a lot. And I think that will be when Justin need to take advantage of that. In the beginning, you need to be respected standing up and put pressure right from the beginning, because Khabib doesn't put the pressure right in the beginning. Sometimes he moves around a little bit, but as the fight picks up, he's relentless. He's like a leech. He stay on you, on top of you, and he doesn't let you go, and it's very, very hard to deal with him. When you fight a guy like Justin Gaethje, he hits very, very hard. So the best position to be is all the way out or all the way in. You don't want to be in the middle of an exchange with him, because that's when things get very, very dangerous. So it's a dangerous fight for both guys. But I believe if I had to put my money on someone, of course you cannot bet against Khabib. His pedigree speaks for itself.
It's tough to say. I really don't know. I think there'll be a good fight. It's good for Justin. He's looked good lately, but I don't know. He fights recklessly but he's got the good wrestling accolades to maybe stop Khabib. I know Khabib doesn't want to come up to 170 and face a guy like me, because he knows he can't take me down, and then he's just going to get outstrucken. So this will be the first test he has with a guy who can actually wrestle, and it should be interesting. So
Khabib, who you got, Geathje? Khabib? That's a good question.
I think stylistically, Gaethje's the most threatening opponent to Khabib because of his wrestling background, and he's a solid fighter standing up. I think this will be Khabib's toughest challenge to date, to tell you the truth.
Khabib gonna win this fight. Second or third round, ground and pound or submission. This is what I see when I think about this fight.
You're pulling me out of character now, because they're both my friends. So I think those are the two toughest guys. I think whoever makes the other guy fight their B side is going to be the guy that's going to win, because it's not just going to be attack and attack, because they're both completely different fighters. So the key for Gaethje to win is he's a risk taker. He has to continue to take risks, chop down the legs, defend shots, focusing on that. Khabib, he's a gamer. He's got to base the fight on feel and see where this fight goes, because Justin Gaethje, one of those calf kicks would change the whole course of the fight. We've seen that. We saw that with salty Sean O'Malley. The princess broke his nail.
Like this way, but Khabib is different person, and still like Tony against Khabib, it will be like totally different fight. So it's And seeing Justin against Tony doesn't mean it's gonna be same way that it's gonna be against Khabib. So it's so unpredictable, right? But I think Khabib that he will use a lot of his grappling, a lot of his wrestling, and to show for Justin, to show this ability to strike, he has to manage very good his wrestling. I know that he's doing great, and just we'll see.
I think Khabib wins. I really do. Justin, he can surprise me, but it's just, I was in there. It's so hard to get your footwork going on a guy like Khabib who just bull rushes and puts you against the fence, and his skill level against the fences. I've said it over and over again. It's something I've never felt before. His understanding of balance, the way he uses his strips, and his weight distribution. It's hard to explain to somebody who's never been pressed up against the fence in a combat scenario. But the guy's good. If Justin can use his footwork, use his wrestling in the open, I think Justin might be able to out-wrestle him in the open. But against the fence, I don't think so.
So key is to not get up against the fence, right? Keep the fight in the center of the octagon for Justin.
Yeah, 100%. I think open mat wrestling, Justin's credentials and Justin's experience there will keep him up.
To beat Khabib, I'd say Geathje. It's a tough fight for both guys, of course, and I think Geathje is one of the guys that has the skill set to beat Khabib, and not just the skill set, but the balls and the heart to beat Khabib. This is very important, to be pressing forward all the time. To not be taking steps back. And he's got the strong wrestling, he's got the intensity, he's got the power. It's going to be a tough fight. This one is a lot closer than I think people think. I believe many people probably think that Khabib will just overrun him, but I see this as being a very close fight, a very 50-50 fight.